What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Milton Spence coming back to you one more time. I got my boy Dion here with me, man. Um, we are here on the Coach's Corner, man. It's the 21st episode. 21st episode. Dion might be a parallel, some type of Deion Sanders 21st episode. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't know, but here we are, man. I got my brother Dion here with me, and today we're gonna be discussing some things that are near and dear not only to my heart but also to his, and that is our brothers in the community, and just how we can get better. And not just that's just different mindsets on because my brother here is a Muslim brother and I'm a Christian, and we're still able to break bread and talk regardless of the fact of the different beliefs because of the fact whether some of you know it or not, I'm pretty sure he'll expel upon that Christianity and Muslims, if you want to say it like that. We share a lot of the same beliefs and we share a lot of the same principles in how we get things done. But either way, Dion, man, go ahead and dive in. Tell us what's up. Tell us who you are, and you got the floor, brother.
All right. Good morning, y'all. My name is Dion Span. I'm currently serving life imprisonment in Georgia, and ex-rapper from a group called Trillville. Unfortunate situation happened down in Albany, Georgia, and I have a lot to say about a lot of issues because of the way I was raised and because of the knowledge that I intake while being inside. So I'm gonna give the floor back to Milt, and we can go ahead and get this thing started.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into it, man. First and foremost, man, where do you see as a man? Obviously, we hear that you say you're inside and you're serving your term or whatever the case may be, and so you get a chance to see a different side of life that necessarily we don't see every day because of the fact all we have, unless we have people that we know who are actually inside or different prisons or whatever the case may be or different places, we only know what we either see on television, Scared Straight or something like that, or we only know maybe that person tell us their experience. But from being you seem to be very well rounded just from the conversations we've had. What are your views on men, and not just men but black men, as far as inside versus how our mindset is, because you still interacted with us outside as well.
Right.
So tell us the different mindsets, or if there is one that you can tell.
Well, first and foremost, I want to start off with a quote that I read from Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was locked up 27 years, and he made a quote, and he said, "Prison is an authoritative state that is designed to snatch our identity. We dress the same, we follow the same schedules, and there's nothing in here that I can have that no other person can have in here with me that distinguishes us from another. Like, I can't say I went to Yale or Harvard and law school and I make $300,000 a year and I drive a Benz and have an 8-room mansion. Everybody that's in here is afforded the same thing. So in more blunt terms or more street terms, you can't separate the junkie from the drug dealer. Like, it's on the streets is like night and day. Another thing that it does, it puts us in a very vulnerable state, in a very dependent state. It takes away our independence, where we have to depend on somebody for everything that we have, because in Georgia, we're not allowed to be paid for work. See, we do details and we do jobs, we build courthouses, we fix up neighborhoods and city halls. These be multi-million-dollar contracts that we as inmates do for free, and the state gets that money. You see what I'm saying? It's hard to really communicate. It's hard to really deal with the opposite sex, as you could probably tell that, it's not a co-ed prison, so we're around men. So dealing with women, most of the women that we do deal with, they have first of all, they have an authoritative position over us. And with that authoritative position, sometimes, women being emotional beings, not saying that women can't control their emotions or not trying to judge them or put them on the scale next to men, but, sometimes people have bad days, and some people are better at, separating a home life and a career or work life. You see what I'm saying? It's hard on our families. It's hard on everybody in question. You understand what I'm saying, Mill?
I got you, man. I totally understand. Considering the fact I had a cousin that was in jail for a long time. Same thing, unfortunate situation. Some things got pinned on him that, came to find it out later. He was supposed to be scot free from the beginning. But he did a long time. He did over maybe about 10 years, 10, 15 years that I can remember that he did. Just for something that, whatever. I mean, he's a brother. And it was just like the young man, the football player who got accused for rape and actually didn't rape the girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So it's the same. It was almost the same exact thing that happened to my cousin. And I just realized it's because of the fact he's a black male. And it's easier to put that stigma on us. And that's what I really want to talk about, because I don't want to be shy about it or coy and think that, obviously we both black men. So we have a lot of things that we experience out here in this world that maybe another black man does not. And the reason I wanted us to talk is because of the fact, me personally, maybe I could have been in your position, and we discussed that. I shared a little bit of my testimony with you to let you know like how I could have been in that position. In my situation, I wouldn't necessarily call it unfortunate. It was actually something that I was going to do, and it was meditated and something that I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that I was going to skate around or whatever. I just end up in the wrong place, wrong time. But either way, so, with us in this society now, like you said, when you're inside, everybody's the same. You know what I mean? You can't tell left from right, up or down. How would you say that we on the outside can have, I'm not going to say that same mentality. How can somebody like myself who, I did go to school, I can differentiate myself from the next man. How do you remain humble with your quote unquote freedom?
Well, I always try to keep in mind of a quote that I learned from an old guy when I first came to prison. And he told an officer one day, he said that my today could be your tomorrow. All it takes is one situation. You could come home, someone's doing something horrific to your wife or your daughter, and pow, and you react, and the law might not be on your side, but just a sense of hope. My dad always told me before he died, he said, as long as he's alive, I have a fighting chance. And I'm quite sure. I know you met my son Jamal, and I'm quite sure you met my daughter at my dad's funeral. And I find it real hard for me to be able to call myself their father or let them call me their hero, and I don't fight for myself in here. You understand? I fight for my freedom every day. I hit the law library. I try to stay out of trouble and keep my nose clean. I have a position in the Muslim community. Considered a religious leader in here actually. So the best thing we could do, man, is try to stay optimistic, stay prayed up, and one of the most important things is that our family members that have the right to vote, And as you know, I'm a Muslim and I don't really believe in democracy, but I live in the land of democracy, and these votes count. It's safe to say that in the South, we stay in the South, there's very few black people that don't have a family member that hasn't been incarcerated or haven't been incarcerated themselves. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of those people that are running for office, mayors and governors and state representatives and state senators and city councilmen, those are the ones that can make a change. But we need those votes. We need to start voting with a little more sense. And not to kind of get off subject, but I kind of had this discussion a while back about Barack Obama. I asked the guys in the day room, I said, how many of y'all was out when Barack Obama ran for office? And a whole bunch of people raised their hands. And I said, well, how many people can remember what his campaign was about? Like, what was the theme of his campaign? And the only thing I could get was, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And stop the recession and this, that, and other. And I was like, well, you don't remember what was the reason why he said he was going to make this a better country? None of that. And the people was kind of looking at me crazy, like, okay, what you getting at? And I was like, well, the question I'm asking is, why did you really vote for him? Was it because we share the same skin color? You see what I'm saying? That's kind of the problem in a democracy is, they teach us in social studies growing up in school that a democracy is a popularity vote. The one who gets the most electoral, the most votes, not necessarily the one that's most qualified. You see, so if I could get up there and speak eloquently and appease the people or the sentiments of the people and say the things that I feel that the people want to hear for right then, it's safe to say I get their vote. Or if I'm a minority that's trying to make groundbreaking history, Like Hillary Clinton liked to just made history if she would have made president, but we had to make a choice of saying, okay, do we take a guy that's never been a politician, that's known for unethical practices in business, or a lady that's been lying about emails in the Benghazi saga? It's not really like, and I think some of the most qualified people are the ones that we overlook, like your Bernie Sanders. We kind of overlook these guys. This guy marched with Martin Luther King, got locked up with Martin Luther King, got scars on his head to prove it. And the state of Black America, that's kind of what we needed with the things that's going on in the streets, with the law kind of leaning towards the other race, which I hate to use race and when it comes to the context of law, because I studied law. I studied the United States Constitution, but it is what it is. And we need to start looking at, you know, the reality of our situation, the state of our race, not just Black people, but the human race. Like what's really going on in America and what's really, really, really needed for America, not just for 4 years, not just for 8 years, but for the years to come. Because our today could become our kids or our progenies tomorrow. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you. And the crazy thing is that, you know, as I'm listening to you, you know, I got a bunch of thoughts running through my head. The biggest thing that comes to me is just the fact that, like you said, and I hate to throw my wife out there like that, but when the last election hit, you know, I asked her, you know, who you voting for? You know what I'm saying? And she says, vote for Hillary. And I said, why? Well, you know, she gave me some roundabout answer. I said, no, why? I said, babe, you know, I hate to put it on you like that. I said, but we got to be more informed of who we vote for and who we give our votes to. I said, because, you know, the devil is always in the details. And if you don't read, you know, you put yourself in a really bad position to only vote against your interests every single time. And I said, the saddest part is some people choose not to vote even when they're uneducated, even though sometimes they may be the best. And I remember when Bernie was running, I was a proponent for him. And I was like, that's who we need, because I'm not on the fact of who he ran for, but I looked at his track record. I looked at his actual policies. I looked at the things he was trying to actually make happen. Now he's gone to the extreme of he's like, okay, I'm gonna go another route and try to see if this will work. And it's just like, okay, so now he's going on a semi-socialist standpoint, which is being frowned upon by the United States because they think that it cannot work, or they believe that it's foolish. And I realize that a lot of us don't understand that once a person becomes a politician, they rely upon us in order to make said salary or to do anything in their life. So for them to have us vote against our own interests would be foolish for them. I mean, it would be great for them, but for us to vote to things that are best for us on the outside or wherever, then it really does them no benefit, because we can't actually give them anything if everything is coming back to the people. It's just like you run a company, same thing. I have a company, 2 companies, and if nothing's coming back to me and I'm just spending my days just spending my time just doing work, like after a while I'm like, this. I mean, good, I'm doing everything for my customers, but man, I'm not getting no money out of this. At some point, it's foolish. So I would change it up. That's what some businesses do. They change it up. They say, all right, cool. So for every dollar I spend, I want to make 50 cents. How can I do that? I got to change my prices. It's as simple as that. So they do stuff that only going to benefit them. That's because that's natural human nature. And that goes back to, spirituality and things like that too. But, so, being that voting is important, and like I said, it is important, I want to dive into it, but I don't, because I know that could take, that conversation by itself could be a very long one. One thing I do want to say, though, to that is not only did, because I get tired of people telling me, I get tired of hearing my ancestors fought. Our ancestors also fought for us to be able to read and write. So don't take those things for granted as well, and saying, oh, they want to vote, but you don't know how educated these people were on who they were voting for at the time. You only think they stood in line in order to just exercise a right, which some could have. I'm not trying to say there's nothing new under the sun. So some could have, but I'm also sure there were some who were also campaigning because let it be known, obviously, we had Black Republicans and stuff like that at that time too. So you can't think that just going down voting and posting a picture is enough. It's got to be educated. You know, I
Right.
voted every year, and I can't look back at one year where I got a picture with a sticker. And I voted every year. I'm like, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I make an educated decision. And sometimes people fight me on. I'm like, I don't vote one party. I vote whoever makes the best policies, whoever makes the most sense for what's needed for my neighborhood, for my community, for my folks, and for my family. I mean, that's what I'm voting
Right.
for. It's as simple as that. You feel me?
Right.
Yeah, as simple as
Right.
that.
You know what though, man? And I often had a question because, of course, where I'm at, you know, at what point does these people that are in office, especially the president, like at what point does these particular issues reach our situation? Like, okay, I remember Barack Obama was saying he was going to free a lot of prisoners, and a lot of people and some guys that's in the room with me, they probably remember this. Like, they was like, everybody was walking around like, oh yeah, Barack Obama, he cutting the budget for Georgia prisons, and they got to release a certain amount of people, and all this stuff gonna happen. I'm looking at the reality of it, and I'm like, well, like, I don't really think that those policies are gonna actually reach us, or a lot of the things that was going on in society, like a lot of things that they said that they was going to do, like the majority of Black America is not going to be reached. You know what I'm saying? With like some of the things that even Trump said he was going to do. Barack did a lot of things. He opened up small businesses, Black small businesses. He opened up a lane for, you know, healthcare and even education. But, you know, when you look at it for what it is that, you know, a lot of the things that we saying that, hey, we need this and we need this done, and this person say they're gonna do this, and this person they say they're gonna do that. You know, it never really actually reaches us. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it never reaches because of the fact you always have hands in the middle. You know, you got
Right.
people who gonna pick and pluck at that budget before it even really touches down. You're gonna have somebody say, "Well, okay, you allotted $3 million to go to this particular prison, but you know we need this, we need this, we need this. Oh, now it's only 500,000 allotted. You know what I'm saying? Now we only got 500,000 left, but ain't nobody talking about that 2.5 that just went missing. You know what I'm saying? Or went to some other programs when the other programs could be that person's pocket. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's always like I said, devil's in the details. And the biggest thing is that you have so many human beings out here who are not willing to just do what's necessary, or to not be lazy, right? And to actually
Right.
do the work and study what it is that you need to study and know what you need to know in order to make sure that you are, you know, you're a productive citizen. You know, I read, obviously we're both on social media, so I read status after status after status. I'm talking about you got the Democratic debate just happened, the third one, and you got people who ain't even watched the first one. I'm like, you don't know
Right.
what's happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
And I think it's really important. I think it's really important that we know. And like I said, I got to bring it up because, you know, I'm one of the people who don't believe in separation of church and state because of my religion. I feel like a Christian country should be ran off the Bible because this is their religion, and you don't have room for opinion in religion. You're gonna have facts. Okay, this is God's revelation, and these are the commandments and laws that He commanded us to follow. Now, if you don't want to live by that particular religion or those particular set of laws, you can move somewhere else. That's the freedoms and the liberties that we have through God's mercies. Muslims, we believe in divine positions. Like you have the Khalifa that runs the country, and those who we delegate those positions. And these are positions that don't vote. You can't get it by bloodline. You can't get it by voting. You get it by first knowledge and practicality of the religion. You know what I'm saying? So like when you have a group of people that's looking at a particular whim or a fancy or a personal sentiment, we got to understand is that, you know, we were created weak. We were created in haste. One of the stories that Muslims and Christians share is the story of Satan, and not bowing to Adam because of arrogance. And the reason why the devil didn't want to bow to Adam is because he felt like Adam was weak. He felt like Adam was made from dirt. You see, he made from something that was with dirt and water. This was stuff that wasn't even here when I got here. I was here before Adam, and I was created by something different than Adam. I was created from pure light. I'm an angel. And in some religions, they believe that the devil was a jinn. But the fact of the matter is that through arrogance, he didn't want to He didn't want to bow or prostrate to Adam. Now, this is what we have to realize, is that we have a common enemy, an enemy that existed long before man walked the earth, which is the devil. And the devil often attacks our weaknesses and not our strengths. You see what I'm saying? He attacks the fact that I'm in poverty. He attacks the fact that I'm uneducated. He attacks the fact that I'm racist. He attacks the fact that I have sexual perversion. All these things he uses as strings. He uses like puppets. You see what I'm saying? So like, we got to always keep in mind that if we want things to go the way we want them to go, rectification has to start with the self. We have to start looking. This one Islamic perspective is that, or principle is that, before I can start looking at everything around me and telling what's wrong around me, I need to start looking within and do an introspection and say, okay, am I the type of person that would please my Lord? Am I the type of person that I would be pleased with? You see what I'm saying? Before I say something wrong with my kids, my baby mama, my baby father, my husband, wife, or whatever, the police department, am I the type of person that I need to be? Can I live in a world with a whole bunch of me's? And if I can't live in a world with a whole bunch of me's, there's something wrong with my outlook, in my opinion.
I mean, you're 100% dead on. And another thing is, I want to expound upon what you said as far as the devil and things of that nature, right? So in this world, considering the fact that and a lot of people know, some people know the devil story, some people don't. He was basically an angel, if you will. We like to call it in the Christian church a praise team leader. Like, he was an adoration. Like, that's what he did. They adored God. He was basically a choir director, if you will, right? So that's what his thing was, entertainment. And how do we basically get pulled in a lot? Entertainment through the words, the beats, and things of that nature. I found myself a long time ago, like, I would listen to a song that I hadn't heard in a minute, and I'd be like, dang, I didn't even know he said that. And I'd be like, oh, okay, so because I'm not listening to the words. And my mom used to always say to me, when I would listen to certain songs, because she was real big on listening to lyrics, she would always be like, that's she was like, I can hear it. She used to always say, I can hear the enemy coming through the speakers, man. So, and another big thing was funny to me, and this is something that I take very seriously. In this life, right, I have been on both sides, okay?
Right.
I'm a preacher's kid, right? So I was raised in church, sure, but at the same time, I was not necessarily worshiping God like that. And when you say, we're a Christian nation, I've always let people know, like, we are not a Christian nation, not by principle, not by the meat of it. You know what I'm saying? We like to say, God bless America. My thing is, I've always kind of alluded to this, and I've told some people straight up, God is not the same God to everybody. All right? And what I mean by that is, this person's God could be the tree outside. This person's God could be the grass. This person's God could be Satan. You see what I'm saying? So if you, as a leader, or what we like to believe is that everybody's talking about the guy in the sky, the big man. Everybody want to believe that we're talking about that God, the friendly one, the nice one, right? But a lot of people forget that God also has jealousy. He also has wrath. Okay? And so there's a reality to God's emotion, to the fact where, if you don't follow him, there's no way in Christianity you're gonna make it. It's not gonna happen. If you're all about perverseness. Now, I have nothing against freedom of speech, but if you're a Christian nation, you already know there'll be certain things that wouldn't be played on television. There's certain things your son wouldn't be exposed to, my kids wouldn't be exposed to. There's certain things we wouldn't be able to even talk about. That's because of the fact, as a Christian nation, there's standards and things that are set in place, and most people don't want to follow that. Because they know if they do, you got to live a disciplined life. you got to live a life that is not endowed in the world, and you got to be able to take on the fact that the world will persecute you, and they will try to harm you because of the fact of who and what you serve. Just like you being a Muslim, you tell somebody a Muslim, they look at you and the first thing they stereotype you, oh, you sell bean pies. because that's what I'm just telling you. You already know.
Right.
That's what they associate you with. But that has nothing to do with anything. Those brothers are doing that as a means to be able to pass on the word. I learned that as I got older, because I used to think the same thing. Like, here he come, right? Oh God, here he come. Because every time I'm out there trying to do my thing, it was just one brother used to always come up to me. Come on, young brother, you know you ain't supposed to be out here doing that. You know, he would never try to sell me one, but he would have them. And then he tried to hand me one of them Muhammad Speaks. And I'd be like, I don't want that junk, bro. I don't want to read that mess. And one time, bro, I took one. One time I took one. I said, I'm gonna read this junk, see what he's talking about. I took it home and I sat down and read it, and I was like, dang. I was like, there's some of the same stuff my mom been telling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like how I'm supposed to be living, what I'm supposed to be doing, and stuff like that. And then I read about this pig and swine and stuff in there, and then I started reading about it and kind of studying. And I stopped eating like pork and stuff for a minute because I was like, it doesn't sound nasty, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started thinking about it like that. That is right. They do eat any and everything like that you throw in front of them, and here I am putting it into my body. But either way, that's besides the subject. So, what? Okay, have you always been Muslim, brother?
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you asked me that, because the Islam that I practiced, and you know the parable of the people on the corner selling bean pies with bow ties. No, these are two different groups. You know, you have the Nation of Islam, who's headed by Minister Louis Farrakhan, and then you have Al-Islam or Orthodox Islam or Sunni Muslims, which is what I am. My dad raised me, you know, up under the Nation of Islam, but I always had a problem with the racism part of it. You know, I could get the whole thing and the blasphemy, because the first principle is who is the original man. And we believe that the original man is the Asiatic black man, the owner, the maker, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. And I used to always be stuck on that. Like, if I'm the God of the universe, who am I praying to then? You see what I'm saying? Then the second principle, who is the devil? The devil is Yaqub, the European Caucasian that with the blonde head and blue eyes. And I'm like, hold up. Now, you mean to tell me that white people was made by a scientist? It just never made sense to me. You see what I'm saying?
That's like Scientology almost.
Exactly. So, you know, it took me actually to like when I got, you know, that was around like 93, so I was like 12 years old. So by the time I really just kind of came off the porch at the age of like 14 or 15, you know, going to hang out on the west end of Atlanta, and I started meeting people like Jamil Alameen, the followers of Jamil Alameen, and I started meeting YBN Moores, people who follow Malachi York. I started meeting 5%ers. I started looking at different ideologies, so I started studying different things. And I came across some Arab brothers and some African brothers. And I was like, I thought black Muslims and Arabs were two different Muslims. And they was like, nah, I'm from Africa. And we practice the same Islam that they practice. And we like represent we represent a third of the world's population. There's 1.5 billion of us. And I started asking what was the difference. And they started telling me the difference. So long story short, I came to prison, and I started, you know, just started reading and started studying and started asking questions. And I was more inclined to Orthodox Islam because it took away the race factor. Because I kept trying to say, like, when you go back and look at the story of Malcolm X and his assassination and everything that happened, you know, that was conducive to that, when he went to the holy city of Mecca, and he had to share food and drink with white people that said that they were Muslim, and I'm over here in America, and these people that call themselves Muslims are telling me that those people are the devil and they're my enemy. It wasn't making sense to me. Now I would say this though, is that at the time that the Nation of Islam did come about in America, I can say that that's kind of what black people needed. We needed a sense of identification. We needed that, but at some point, the truth must come out. You know, it's like when you're a kid, your mom tells you about the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus and all that. Then after a certain age, after you mature to a certain extent, she go ahead and tell you, like, look, all that over, you know, all them days that I was late coming home from work and you had to eat cereal for dinner because I've been working overtime to get you those presents. And I've been doing, you know what I'm saying? And look, you know, that's me putting money up under your pillow when you put a tooth up under your pillow. It's not this fairy godmother or godfather that's coming, or some guy coming down the chimney. You see what I'm saying? You know, it's crazy because, you know, when I became Muslim, you know, when I actually took my Shahada to become an actual Orthodox Muslim, I had to you know, I had to employ a factor that Louis Farrakhan said. He said, when you become woke, you know, a circle is 360 degrees. We traveling in a full circle. What we have to do is we have to go all the way back to 0 degrees and then come all the way back around. We have to go back and forget everything that we learned in the way that we thought everything was supposed to be, and then relearn it and then start trying to apply it. So in principle, yes, I've always been Muslim. Practicality, no. I had my times in the streets, you know, from the ages of like 14 to like 20 something, that I wasn't, Islam was the last thing I was thinking about, unless, you know, I just ran across some brothers or I was around my dad. But when I came to prison, you know, I kind of got real deep into it, because, you know, in times of turmoil is when people really start turning to religion.
Yep.
And I studied and I excelled really fast. You know, I'm a quick learner. I learned a lot of the Arabic language. I learned a lot of the histories of Judaism and Christianity and our relationship, and the relationship of those respective religions with Islam. And before I knew it, I woke up and they was like, hey, look, we need you to give a speech. Sounds like a speech.
But got weak, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I prayed on it, and I tried my best, and I think I went up there and nailed it. And ever since then, you know, everywhere I go, I'm looked upon like for some kind of educational advice. Like right now, I'm over education with you know, with people learning religion in the dormitory that I'm in and the camp that I'm at. I'm usually has something to do with, you know, education. That you can tell that comes from my mom part of the thing. My mom's side, you know, she's been in education since before all of us was born. She's either did early child care development, elementary school, high school. You know, now she works at Job Corps. She's always working in something that's gonna assist in educating kids or the youth. So yeah, I pretty much always been Muslim my whole life.
And you know what else is crazy about that, man? Like, everybody asks me the same question. You always been a Christian? And I said, well, by association, yeah.
Right. Practicality?
By practicality, no. I said because, you know, you could track my life, like you said, go back to 0 and see like how I was and what I was all about. I even had one girl when I was in college, matter of fact, she was like, you know, you supposed to be a Christian, you pretty promiscuous to be a Christian boy. You know what I mean? And that blew me a little bit, because I was like, dang, she kind of put me on Front Street, but at the same token, like, she was 100% correct.
Yeah, reality check.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had to like really come to a fact of either I was gonna be 100% in or I wasn't.
Right. No straddling the fence.
Yeah, I had to make up my mind, because I said, I don't want to be spit out, bro. Like, in my head, I was like, you know what, man? And one day I said this to myself: if I'm wrong, I'm gonna be just like I was in sports. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna be wrong going 100 miles an hour.
Facts.
I'm gonna be 100% wrong. I'm gonna give you 1,000% that I have being wrong. I said, because the only way we gonna know, and I hate to say it, the only way we gonna know is when we leave this earth. I said that's more the way we're gonna know. I said, because you can't tell me that someone of another religion doesn't believe that they're correct. They're right. What they're saying is right. You can't tell me this person don't think the same thing. So the only way we all gonna know, based upon whatever you believe in heaven, hell, Hades, whatever, is when we leave. When we go, that's how we gonna know.
That's how we gonna know.
Otherwise, while you're here, give 100% to whatever it is. Because I met a gentleman who was an atheist, and I broke bread with the man, and I literally was interested on how he could believe that something came from nothing. I was like, how do you honestly understand? Where do you, like, in what scientific anything come from nothing? Like, where? I was like, you can't just put a glass on the table and automatically fill it with water.
It doesn't happen like that.
It doesn't happen that way. I was like, you there's no, like, explain to me. And after he explained whatever that confusion was all about, I just looked at him and said, brother, I'm gonna just pray for you. I said, because you confused, man. I said, I don't care how you shake it or how you put it. You don't know what you talking about, dog. I said,
hey, Mil, it's one quick thing I want to say, because the Christian brothers, they got to have their theology class. As you see, I'm kind of overlapping it to them.
Cool.
But it's one thing I want to say, man, and it's a message to all, especially black fathers, black men. You know, we all was raised on the principle that it takes a village to raise a child. And I think we have to get back to employing that particular methodology. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because the alarming numbers that police officers are killing these young black men. And it's something that I'm quite sure your dad taught you, my dad taught me, and a lot of the big homies or the OGs or your big cuz or whatever you want to call them, they always taught us how to deal with the law. It's no secret, we've been in this country roughly 400 to 500 years, and there is no secret what black people have been through since we've been in this country. But I'm looking at it to the extent that we can't keep using that as an excuse. You understand? At some point, we got to educate each other the way we were educated. My dad always taught me, like, look, man, you already know, that the law is lopsided when we look at skin color. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's just what it is. And it's really not much that we could just do about it per se. And I think prevention is the best measure. It got to be some kind of intervention or some kind of seminars or some classes on how to deal with these officers. When I just watched a video where this officer pulled over a dude, and this dude knew his rights. And even though he knew his rights, he knew that, hey, this guy here is armed and doesn't look like he's having a good day. So I'd rather my parents or my family post a bond or get me a lawyer or come get me out or come see me in a jail cell than come to my funeral because this guy got a little trigger happy. I think it's very important that, man, we need to start back, educating the youth, man, and start telling them, like, look, stop breaking the law first. Because a lot of these times, you don't be all the way right. See? And another thing is that whether you're right or wrong, it's a particular way to deal with these people. We learned this in elementary school, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, the Bill of Rights in the United States Constitution. We know our rights. And guess what? Just because he's not recognizing our rights at that time doesn't mean it's worth my life. It's not worth me leaving my parents, my kids, or my mom, or my wife, or my family in general, or my friends. We need to start telling these little guys, like, look, man, these police officers pull you over, keep your hands visible. Make sure somebody's recording. Make sure, you answer their question. Make sure you talk respectful to them. Because at the end of the day, all they look for is one excuse to pull that taser, to pull that trigger, to mistakenly cut off a body cam or whatever. And, I think it's really important because, it's going to get to the point that where something's going to happen. Charles Barkley said one time in the CNN video interview, and they drug him about it. He said, black people don't know how to express themselves. And then I went to think about the Rodney King riots. I went to think about every time something goes wrong with the government and black people, the first thing we do is we go tear our own stuff up. We go tear our own neighborhoods up. We go tear our own grocery stores down. Then we turn right back to the people that we mad at for help. I would respect them more if we were saying, okay, well, we finna go burn down City Hall. That's not a green light to do none of that. Don't take that wrong, but like, it has to be some kind of intelligent way and more productive way to deal with these situations instead of just riding and standing up, because the picket signs and the kumbaya, my lords, and no justice, no peace, that's not doing us no good, and it's definitely counterproductive for us to go tear up neighborhoods. First and foremost, we need to start getting these little guys, and we need to start telling them, man, it's all right to go back to saying that you want to be a doctor or a police officer or a lawyer, like we said when we was asked what we want to be when we grow up. Now, guys, they either want to be a rapper, athlete, LeBron James, or they want to be the plug. I think the mindset needs to be, we need to go back and reprogram, our culture. And I'm not just talking about black people because, the culture is not integrated. See, you have Asians that are into hip hop culture. You have white people that are into hip hop culture. They dance like us. It's so integrated, so intertwined that if I didn't actually see you, I would probably say, well, he's probably a middle-aged white guy. And I see you with some baggy jeans on, some Balenciagas and some dreads hanging and a mouth full of golds. And so it's safe to say that, we just need to get people all together, because right now, as a culture, we're in a good place. And I know a lot of things that used to be taboo back in the days, like homosexuality. Remember, it was a time that people never even understood rap. Like, parents was like, we listen to Marvin Gaye and y'all listen to that hippity hoppity stuff and that Public Enemy and all this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But right now, you actually have parents that can identify with kids. Like, we listen to the same music, we dress the same, we like video games, we do a lot of the same things. We need to start getting these little dudes and do like these other races, especially the white race do. You know, we get these little kids and start sponsoring them. We catch these 12, 13-year-old guys that like to argue and debate and put them in debate classes and put them on debate teams. And we see these little guys that are athletes. We need to start investing in that. These little geniuses that like to take all their books home and work on computers, we need to, because that's what we missed out. Our family saw we like video games and like messing with computers, and they told us that it was the devil. Now everything is ran by. You look at the military training, they train them on PlayStation controllers. You see what I'm saying? When they do the simulation, they done with video game consoles. And I like Chris, when your brother-in-law Chris,
right?
Like, he loved video games growing up. And if I would have known that, or my Uncle Deese would have known that the gaming industry would be what it is right now, they probably would have invested in that. And maybe we'll have somebody that would be a lot greater than what they are now and have something more to contribute and have a bigger platform. Right now, the platform is so high and it's so open for everybody to get out here and speak and put whatever ideas they have out there on the forefront and in the motion. I think we need to start back again on that, man. Carter G. Woodson told us a long time ago in The Miseducation of the Negro is that we got to start back investing in ourselves. And I'm not talking about a skin color. I'm talking about our culture. We need to reinvest in our culture. And be like, okay, look, we have something pivotal, and we have something real motivating with these little kids, with the sports and the music and the fashion and DJing. Like, back when I grew up, you know, either you rap or you painted or you was an artist. Now you got guys you look at these guys' resumes and they like, okay, rapper, writer, producer, director, DJ, fashion design, everything mixed in one. You see what I'm saying? And I think we need to start finding these people and make sure they're multi-talented like that and try to invest in that particular movement. And like I said, man, education. That's what we need, man. And I'm not talking about book sense. I'm talking about general knowledge, things that we need to know, you know, in order to be who and what we need to be in life in order to change this world, man. Because the world, even though culture is in a good place, the world is in a real bad place with the hate that's going on, man.
Yeah, and that's why I try to raise Milton and Madison the way I do. With Andrew, right. I try to expose them to everything, you know. Everybody from my old neighborhood, they figure, you know, he'll be just like me. You know, he gonna play ball. I'm like, nah, he gonna play, or he gonna do whatever he is great at, whatever he is good at. That's what he's gonna do. I don't care if he play football. I care if he is in his right place doing what he's meant to do. I was in football, from the time I could freaking run. I was playing ball. That's because that's what I like to do. I gradually, just naturally went to it. And my family will tell anybody the same thing. Like, just from a young boy, it wasn't something that I was even coerced to do because I tried so many sports. I played all the sports, if you could think of. Hell, I even tried karate. Didn't like it. It just wasn't what I liked. It wasn't what I wanted to do. And the crazy part is as I raise my kids now, I see how imperative to do exactly what you're talking about doing. And that's basically making sure that whatever it is that they're good at naturally, that I take that, cultivate that, and help them and raise them up in that versus them living vicariously through me. Because our parents, they were taught to chase the American dream. And so in chasing the American dream, it had to be that you had to be an athlete because them coming up, in order to get out of their situation, they only saw athletes doing it. And
or entertainers.
Or entertainers.
Right.
If you saw a doctor, it was a rarity. Oh, it's a black doctor. Or just like my grandmother is, I won't go to no other doctor except for a black doctor. And I said, if he's a doctor and he's good, you go to him. It don't matter. That's my mindset. But my grandma is totally different because she was different. Well, we weren't allowed to be doctors. We weren't allowed to do this. So now that you're allowed, she feels as if it is such a rarity. But in my head, I'm like, well, if his parents raised him up in that, it's not a rarity. It's what he's meant to do. And that's what I want my kids to be doing what they meant to do. We should all be doing that. Whatever we meant to be doing in this life, whoever we're meant to be impacting, whatever it is that we're meant to be talking about, whatever our platform is, use it. It don't have to be that it's a great impact to so many lives. To me personally, I decided to do stuff like this because of the fact I want to do it, bro. It has
Right.
nothing else to it. It's something I want to do. It's something I'm drawing. I don't care if 10 people watch it. I don't care if 10,000 or 10 million.
Right. I want to be the first to tell you, man. I'm proud of you too, man. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud to be a part of this. And hey, man, I'm happy for you, bro. I gotta run though. Thanks for the opportunity, Milt, man. We can do this anytime you want to. I gotta let these guys get to that class.
Well, go ahead, brother, man. I appreciate you, man. And look, man, we're gonna chop it up, man. Just hit me up on the messenger, bro.
All right, bro. Love.
Love, man.